Hello family, God bless you. Jeff Perot here, Acts in Motion. I wanted to bring to our attention today from the book of Matthew chapter 20. I'm going to title this as Kingdom Leadership from the perspective of Christ. It also corresponds in Luke 22, starting at verse 23. Give a little bit of backdrop here. Here's the Lord talking to his apostles about the things that he must suffer. He talks about the death, burial, and resurrection. And here comes the mother of the sons of Zebedee asking for her sons to sit at his right and left hand. And the Lord basically said, "Do you know what you're asking me, woman? Is your sons willing to drink the cup that I drank and the baptism that I'm baptized?" I believe he's talking about the baptism of suffering. So from that context, I want to read starting at, let's say, verse 23. And it's the Lord. And he said unto them, "Ye shall drink indeed of my cup and be baptized with the baptism that I am baptized with. But the sit on my right hand and on my left is not mine to give, but it shall be given to them of whom it is prepared by my Father." And what's very interesting, now we have the other 10 disciples. They're over here now jockeying for position and who's greatest. And look what it says here in verse 24. "And when the 10 heard it, they were moved with indignation." Does that sound familiar? It sounds like today's modern church as well. Nothing is new under the sun. I mean, moved with indignation. You're over here asking for a title and a position greater than mine, and we're in this competition. We didn't need to knock the nonsense off, saints. And I'm talking primarily with leaders, but we need to, just across Christendom, we need to knock this stuff off. Let's get Christ's perspective. Let's humble ourselves here, and let's embrace the teachings of the Lord. So the Lord, seeing this proverbial pissing match going on, if I can go there, and he addresses it. I love the Lord. He's just so awesome. Verse 25 here. "But Yeshua called them unto him and said, Ye know not," he said, "you know that the princes of the Gentiles exercise dominion over them, and they are great, and they that are great exercise authority over them." He's talking about hierarchy now. He's saying, hey boys, your thought process, what is in your mental capacities, you're thinking hierarchy, and it is the thought process of the Gentiles. It's the thought process of the Grecian and Roman mindset. And the very next verse he says this, "But it shall not be so among you." What is the Lord saying to us today? Because let's be honest, the majority of how church is ran today is with the very mindset and the very constructs and structures that the Lord is saying right here, "But it shall not be so among you." I believe, or may I ask it or pose this as a question, have we embraced a wrong construct in how we are operating and functioning kingdom as the family of God? Are we taking man-king systems and the ingenuities of the flesh to actually rule and to exercise authority and to organize things? But the Lord gave us some instructions, saints. "With you it shall not be so." This should be sobering. This should be gripping our hearts and put us at pause of saying, okay, Lord, I will consider what you're saying here. And I believe the Lord is challenging us right now just to say, Lord, what can we do that actually is different? What can we do that resembles your nature, that resembles how you govern? And he continues here in verse 26. 6, but it shall not be so among you, but whosoever will be great among you, let him be your minister. That's servant. And whoever will be chief among you, let him be your servant. Verse 28, even as the Son of Man came not to be ministered unto, or to be served, but to serve or minister, and to give his life a ransom for many. I want to go ahead and zero in right there. I am convinced by what the text is saying, by conscience, and how I know Christ orchestrates his kingdom as the king. I want to zero in on this. He gave his life away. Leaders, I plead with you, get a revelation on the inside, the foundation, the fundamentals, how we build and operate and function. It must come from a heart that we are convinced that we must give our lives away in order to actually function properly as kingdom ministers, as kingdom leaders. If it does not start from that premise, start from that foundation of giving our lives away, I will submit to you, it will not work. We cannot mix this thing. The ingenuities and the constructs of man do not mix with the kingdom of God. Let's just flat out clarify that. It will not work. Because the ingenuities and the constructs of man, the governments of man, is typically about ego, about control grids, about position, and about hierarchy. Christ is about a lowerarchy. If you want to be chief, prove yourself out by being the best servant. Prove yourself out by bearing his nature and loving deeply like he does. Being the most sacrificial. Being the one who shows up on time, and the one who is a man and a woman of their word, who is able to exercise wisdom and have character, and to be able to sacrificially and patiently bear with the saints. These are the attributes. These are the character that the Lord is looking for. And I believe it all starts with laying our lives down. If we don't have that, we can't build anything that is long lasting, anything that is actually sustainable. And we'll just go ahead and build just like the world. And now we have all this Hollywood Jesus going on with a bunch of glitterbug preachers. I'm not trying to be critical here, but it's just showtime. It's Hollywood Jesus. And I'm not saying that there's impure motives. What I'm saying to you, that there is a lot of people that have been taught wrong. A lot of people are only paying forward what they know. So we must pull the card out. Forgive them, Lord, for they know not what they do. But under the sound of my voice, I'm trying to make some crooked ways straight here. I'm trying to bring a plumb line. That if we do not, from the text, from what the Messiah said himself, saints, we must come from a place where he came from. That we will give our lives away, we'll lay our lives down. So the church is built on the backs of the apostles and the prophets and the evangelists and the pastors and the teachers. The elders of the church. The church is people. The church is not a construct. The church is not a building. It is living stones. It is a people. It is family. And how we aim, call vision. And what is our aim? Where are we going, saints? We're going after being conformed to the image of Christ. How do we accomplish that? It's called mission, and the mission is you. The mission is the church to help bring the level of maturity. What maturity? That we look like Jesus. So if we have these mothers and fathers and these leaders that don't understand what's going on, and they're aiming improperly. How can we disciple others? How can we help others to aim properly? So I'm going down to foundation right now, and the foundation is really, it's in transformation, and transformation puts it within us, a grace in us that we're willing to lay our lives down. And this is our leadership. So may this admonishment and this exhortation help us today to adjust some things, to calibrate some things in us. It starts right here. I'm not pointing my bony finger at everybody else. I'm saying, Lord, deal with me. And if you could do the same, deal with you. But do not allow these words to fall on deaf ears. And even as our Messiah said, he who has ears to hear, let him hear. Let's aim properly. The eternal vision is Christ, and exercising the fullness of his nature and character. And so vision is where we're going. Mission is how we get there. What is the mission? The mission is ecclesia. And we need each other. We need family. We need to rub on each other. Iron sharpens iron. And we need to be encouraged one of another, and we need to spend time with one another so we're able to bear the image of Christ in everyday life, not just longing to die and go to heaven, but may the kingdom advance now through you as Christ pours his life through you and you partner with him and you yield and surrender to his nature to love one another. God bless you. Thank you for hearing me out. Appreciate you. You have a fantastic day.